everyone, my name is Jade, and today I'm going to be talking about my surprising reads of 2018. So these are books that just are not what I expected in any way. I'm not going to be telling any spoilers, so some of them will be a little confusing if it's plot related, but some of these books are just surprising to me because of how they made me feel and how I reacted to them and how much I love them when I never thought I would. The first book I have for you guys is actually quite a few of these were in my top of 2018 because of the way they surprised me. But the first one I have is The Lone Ranger and Tonto Fist Fight in Heaven. This book really took me by surprise of just everything. It's so difficult to read and it's strange and confusing, but as I read more and more, everything started connecting and making more sense, and I just loved that. It was like I was uncovering a puzzle because it's a book of short stories that take place on the same Indian reservation and they're all about the same people, but I like different periods of their lives, and like just a lot of different little pieces connect. And it's also very confusing because some of the characters are in different mind states. I think one of them might have had like a mental illness. His passage was really confusing. Uh, there was one who was like a storyteller and he was on trial for murder or something, and all he did was get on the stand and tell like different stories of atrocities that happened to Indians on like of that reservation, like back during that time specifically when like we were pushing them out of their land and stuff. It was so strange, but like it made sense and it was so good, and I literally couldn't put it down. I was in school because I got it to read in my second hour class, and I literally finished it by the end of the day. Did not pay attention to any of my classes, but it was worth it. I definitely recommend it just for people looking for something different to read and something with a lot of like relevance to like issues going on currently, because obviously it deals with what it's like to live on a tribe and the alcoholism that is really rampant in tribes, and like the hopelessness a lot of people on reservations feel because they feel like they can't better themselves, but also it gave kind of a little hint of hope, which really just made it a great novel. Okay, the next book I want to talk to you guys about is One of Us is Lying. This book, you guys, this book. Okay, not what I expected in any way. Twist ending that got me like nothing has ever got me before. This book is a surprising read for me just because the ending takes you by surprise very hard. It's just like, what is happening? I never would have expected a book to end like that, and for like, so it's like a murder mystery. It's a breakfast, it's like basically the Breakfast Club like in detention, except one of them ends up dying, so obviously one of the kids in the room was the killer, so it's like uncovering that. But at the same time, the kid who died ran like this gossip website on a school, and all of the kids in the rooms had really like dirty pieces like that showed really like their deepest secrets. They were in like they were going to be released by him, so they all have motive. The ending is honestly something that makes a lot of sense for how people think today and like how crazy people are. Uh, I just really recommend it, and I actually pre-ordered the next book that's coming out January 8th, I believe, by this author, and I'm just super excited because I want more. I want more like it. It was so like, I still can't get over it. Please read it. I can't spoil it, obviously, but just please trust me and just read it. Just you, The next book I want to talk about is Sourdough. This was a strange but really good book. So it's about this girl who works for a tech agency. She does things with robots and coding and things like that. She's just a super smart girl, and she spends her whole life dedicated to this. She's only in like her 20s or 30s, but she spent her whole life doing this from a really young age. So she's never like, she doesn't have time for anything else. And then so she gets this dinner every night from these people who just have super super great food, and they're actually going to move back to their home country one day, and they decide to leave her with this bread starter. So the bread they made was super super amazing, and they give her their starter, and she starts to make her own bread. and she's really, really good at making bread, and it gives her something else to focus her time on and another passion so that her whole world isn't her job. And my God, nothing was to be expected by this novel. It's so strange, but in the best way. Like, duh, like her job is weird, and there's this whole thing where everyone eats this like food, pre-packaged like dust food, and it's disgusting, and there's this huge company that supplies it to everyone, but then she starts making this bread, so she stops eating it, and it's just really funny. Like, that's just like this whole like weird background thing that's happening. You're like, why? But there's just so much weird things that happen, like with her bread, and actually following that passion, she gets involved in like this whole kind of like secret world of cooking, people who are like the best cooks but who incorporate technology in their cooking. It's so strange, but it was really good. You just gotta read it. Like, honestly, you just gotta. It's so weird. I loved it though. The next book I have for you guys is A Court of Mist and Fury. I have it here, actually. I'll just... by Sarah J. Maas. This book. I hated the first one. This book is surprising because of how amazing this book is. The other ones were surprising because of, like, plot devices and how I reacted to them. This is just a freaking amazing book, and I did not expect it. The first one, you know... A Court of Thorns and Roses, about this human girl. She gets dragged into the Fae world because she kills this wolf that's actually a Fae. And then she's in this guy's court. He's the Spring King. And, like, she's just chilling and living her life. And then some bad stuff happens. And she saves the day. And this one is so much better. So, everything is so much deeper. And you find out that everything you kind of, like, thought you knew in the first book, it's not true. It's all just, like, there's so much more going on that you never knew, which is why it was good, because the first book I feel like was rather surface level, and this book delved deeper than any book I've ever read before of anything. It's just, it got so deep in there, and it explained everything, and you're like, oh my God. And the characters were so great, and I love them all, and they're all really flawed, but in the best way. And it's just, this book makes me want to cry. I'm having really bad allergies. I'm not crying. But I must say that book just makes me cry because it's so good. I didn't find allergy pills. Please read it though. Like, if you were like me and weren't going to continue with the first series, like after the first book, I ended up continuing just because of how many people on BookTube talked about A Court of Mist and Fury and how good it was. Like, people who like hate all of other Sarah J. Maas's books, specifically only like the second one, so I'm like, oh, I'll try it. Best choice I've ever made. The next book I have is The Other Boleyn Girl, which I also have, but it's on my bookshelf. I'll just grab it because I don't want to have to download something off online to put a picture of it on my gosh darn screen. Hang on. Haha! It's The Other Boleyn Girl by Philippa Gregory. This one surprised me because it showed me how much I love a genre that I never knew I loved, which is like historical fiction. Obviously, but like, it's just, this is a historical fiction novel, but I specifically like them when they're like from a woman's point of view, like in a court with the king, you know. I don't know, I just really enjoy it. It's pretty good. That's why I have like so many of them, because I found them all at Goodwill for $1 each. I was like, I'm getting them all. I got 14 books that day. Haven't read one yet, but I will. So this book is Mary Boleyn, which is Anne Boleyn's sister. Anne Boleyn was one of the wives that King Henry VIII beheaded. So, you know, it's interesting. Mary actually was the mistress of King Henry VIII. So the entire, like, first part of the book is about her, who's, like, she's honestly a little kid, becoming his mistress and, like, living that life, and then starting to not want to be in it and not caring about court life as much and wanting to do stuff for herself. And then her sister draws the king's attention, and you see all the horrible things her sister does in order to keep his attention and how, like, tricky and smart she is. And then they get married, and, you know, then the last part is all about how things go downhill and she gets beheaded and the whole family's, like, in danger. But it's just super good. I read this, so this is like a 700-page book. I read this in 3 days. which doesn't seem like that much of a thing, but it wasn't like I was trying to do a 24-hour reading challenge. I just couldn't put it down. I read all throughout all my classes. I read it all, like, whenever I was home. Like, I couldn't put it down. I think I had to work one of the nights, which is why it took me 3 days. But it's just, honestly, an amazing book. And I want to read more from this author because she's really amazing and she has so many of like these kind of things. And see, I have 2 by her and she has so many more and I just really want it. The last book I have for you guys is Dread Nation. So this book really caught me by surprise, specifically because I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. I've never read a book like it before. It's about it's the Civil War time period, except halfway through the Civil War, all the people that died, woke up and became zombies and started attacking the other side. I swear to God, this dog is gonna make me jump off a cliff. But, Bella! Bella, shut up! Please. Ah! Thank you. Hope I remember to cut that out. So technically slaves were freed by Abraham Lincoln in this book as well, but because of the time period, a lot of people are still treated really bad. And of course, people were still treated really bad, like, in real life, even after that ended. But so this book takes place in the South, and the main character is a Black African-American girl, and that was a dumb sentence. But she's at this academy being trained to be a handmaiden, so she has to learn she basically learns how to defend rich white women from zombies and protect them. So, that's good. And then she gets involved in this plot, and things change, and her life doesn't go the way she thought she was, and she's sent out to the frontier to serve, there to, protect all the rich white people. And it's so good. I love the main character of this book because she's so intelligent and she's sassy and she does what she wants. She doesn't let other people boss her around, which in this time period is really amazing. And she lets people know what she thinks, but she's also really kind and caring and just an amazing person. And then all the other characters also have so much depth and they all have, flaws, but they're all also just, really good people, and I really enjoyed it. And it was so surprising because I've just never read a book like that. And I always love reading books that surprise me like that. So I definitely recommend this book to everyone, and I super loved it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave me a like down below. Tell me some books that you read this year that really surprised you and that you really loved. And I'll see you all in my next one. Bye-bye!